Let me talk to you a little bit about story structure. I'm still learning and deconstructing all my favorite movies and stories, and you guys should do the same. Just not only Google that, you could also Google the Peter David article on it too. I'll try to get the link eventually. But basically, I've noticed some things. Basically, you have three acts. It's like a three-act structure, the storytelling. And there's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, which is basically beginning, middle, and end. And basically, the beginning is the setup, the middle is the conflict, and the end is the resolution. Alright, so the setup, you basically show your characters in their natural environments, and then they have to hit a plot point, the situation that actually sets the movie into motion. It's like when the Karate Kid, he's busting up his bike, and he's like, the mom's like, what's wrong? And he's like, I need to learn karate. And then he keeps getting his butt kicked, and so he doesn't know what to do. And like he's getting the crap beat out of him, and then Mr. Miyagi like saves him, and then he realizes that Mr. Miyagi can teach him. And so once the setup of the Act 1 figures out what the goal is, what the plot point, then that leads to Act 2, which is the development stage where uh, the hero starts taking steps towards the goal. And so like RoboCop's like fighting all these villains and stuff, trying to figure out who killed him or whatever. So he's going through fighting all the bad guys or whatever, throwing them all in jail. And then what happens in the second act is eventually towards the end of the movie is like a bit major low point. Like the hero fails, and so there's a low point in the movie. It's like Lethal Weapon. They get captured and tortured, and like RoboCop, he's like getting shot up by cops, and he's like, barely, like he's trying to roll down the parking garage trying to get away, and Lois saves him or whatever. Lewis saves him, and so they drive off. And then like after the hero barely gets out alive, like the movie could have ended at that point. It would be a really crappy movie, but somehow the hero barely survives. So it's like kind of twisting the audience's mind a little bit, but the movie kind of slows down at this point, and like the hero has to like find himself or something. It's like Die Hard when he's like pulling the glass out of his foot, and he's talking to uh, the guy downstairs. He's like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Tell my wife I love her and stuff like that. And it's like the hero's trying to find his way, and he figure out if he can really do this or not, because he's not sure. It's like the internal conflict or whatever. So then the hero gets motivated, and then you introduce the third act, and the hero is more prepared. He's learning from his mistakes, and he's starting to kick ass again. So it's like maybe he kills a couple more bad guys. Like Daniel-san's like kicking butt in the karate tournament. Maybe Terminator 2. They set off in their final motivation to go get the arm and the chip and get rid of that. And then there's like another sort of fork in the road, or like a bump in the road. It's like the heroes are once again, like after the second act where they're getting the crap beat out of them or whatever, and they're not sure if they can do it. Then they find the motivation in the third act, and then all of a sudden the S hits the fan again. And so can they do it? Like the last time they screwed up, and it wasn't, they barely escaped alive, and now this time it's like, can they do it again? And so sometimes the hero will reach another low point in the third act. So it's like, oh, is it the same thing that happened in Act 2? Are they going to get the crap beat out of him again? It's like Rocky. Rocky got beat the first time, so he has to fight him again, and then he beats him at the end or whatever. It's kind of that sort of thing. And then like the final fight, it can't be just, the hero just walks all over the villain. Like the villain has to, like, pull, like, sucker punch or do something sneaky or whatever to get the hero. And like sometimes, like, the hero uh is almost down for the count. It's like Neo in the Matrix. He's dead at the end, and he comes back alive. And same with Terminator 2. The dude, Schwarzenegger, he gets the spike shot through his heart or whatever, and so then he finds the alternate. You think the movie's over right then. Okay, they're screwed. Terminator's dead. Nope. Terminator finds a way to live. Same with RoboCop. They nail him with that big old steel poles that fall on him, and then you think he's out. He got shot up by the cops in the second act, and on the third act he's about to get killed again. So it's like, it's not looking like it's gonna happen. And most people like an underdog anyway, so the hero can't just kick ass and take names or whatever. The hero's got to be in these sort of points where you that there ain't much hope for him, and then somehow RoboCop figures out he can stab Clarence Bodiger in the neck and kill him that way. It's like the Terminator knows that he can shoot and shoot the T-1000 into the liquid or whatever, and it's like Lethal Weapon. He decides to like fight the guy at the end, and the guy looks like he's winning, and he digs deep and ends up beating up Gary Busey at the end. And then sometimes you think it's over, and then they do the final scare or whatever. So it's like in Alien, like you think it's over, they get off the planet or whatever, and nope, that ain't the end of it. The mother alien comes on the ship and wreaks havoc over again, and so somehow the hero finds a way to succeed after that. The second bump in the road, the low point in the third act. They find a way to succeed, and then you got to wrap things up all tightly and take care of the loose ends and continue on your movie. So let's kind of, I've been babbling around. Let's find a final sort of wrap up of this sort of thing. Okay, you got the first act, which you set up your character, and then a situation that throws off their happy world, and then they have to figure out their goal of what they have to do. And so then the middle act is the conflict. That's when they figure out what their goal is. They try to go towards it, but then they succeeded at first, but then there's a definite low point in that third film, and things start slowing down after the hero barely makes it out alive or whatever. And then the third act, the hero like wasn't sure in the second act if he had enough guts. So the third act, he figures things out, goes for it, and then there's the final showdown where the villain kicks his butt again, but then somehow he finds a way to succeed. So there you go. That's kind of the structure I noticed of my favorite action movies. I can kind of fit everything into that. So basically, when you have characters kick their ass in the second act, and like kick their ass again in the third act, and like make it hard on your characters to survive these conflicts. You don't go easy on them. You got to make your viewers want to figure out how are they going to get out of these situations. So hopefully this helps you. Look up screenwriting structure. Look at your movies and just try to dissect them into the first act, second act, and third act, and it's quite interesting, and maybe it'll help you write your own stories. So there you go.